Hello, friends. Welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. Become a diehard. Go PHNX.com. Pick up a free hat and or shirt every single year. You are a diehard. I'm a diehard. I'm Johnny Venerable. He is my fearless co-host, Bo Brack. It's a mock draft Tuesday. I may or may not be wearing a bald cap underneath this hat. Let's mock it up, Bo Brack. Let's do it.
Ready to do it. I love that in the chat. Everybody, like somebody want to get in, and they've started doing this, hitting first, second, third. What up, Milt? What up, Dee? Monty, Austin Ford's Burner was third. Jeremy Bailey. Everybody, thank you. Welcome. It is another edition of PHNX Cardinals. Also, our award-winning producer, Damon Dog. It doesn't matter he didn't win the award on our show. It's this. We built our roster. We saw a guy that's out there producing, and we needed him on our team. And that's what Monty Austin Ford's going to do
Brian Burns
this season.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. He's going to be our impact player, plays a premium position, and we're going to get him locked and loaded from here on forward.
We're locked and loaded. Mel Kiper Jr., we knew it was coming, dropped his 1.0 mock draft of the offseason. And typically with Mel, I feel like as he's gotten older, his hot takes have been a little bit more wild. I thought today's mock draft, just putting the Cardinals picks aside for a second, I thought this was his best mock in a long time that I can remember, like agreeing wholeheartedly, like what my eyes see on College Football Saturday, and then subsequently what Mel has done. I think it's pretty solid, especially for the Cardinals. Now we're going to laugh at some other picks, specifically Seattle and what they ended up doing in the teens, but 5,000 foot view, surface level.
Right.
When you looked at this mock, Bo Brack, like what were your takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mel Kiper certainly became quite a polarizing figure just because he was atop, the draft experts. He was the guy that paved the way, and you got to give credit and respect where it's due. I mean, this is a guy that's going into his 40th year, and, sometimes you got some duds and sometimes you miss the mark, and people are going to obviously keep receipts, and like Mel Kiper projected this guy here, and this is where he got drafted, or this is what he said this prospect was going to be, and he was a bust and all that. But I think Mel Kiper, as far as the draft forecasters out there and this very inexact science, I mean, he's been doing it at a high level for a long time. He's not like a dialed in guy. He doesn't have true insight from most organizations, but what he can do is he's got really tremendous insight on who these prospects are and how they match up with each and every organization and where they are currently in the landscape of the NFL. So I think to what you were saying, I agree with it. I think that Mel Kiper, he took a pretty big swing at 2, kind of bucking some trends that we've seen so far in other mocks. And as we sit here at the end of January, sure, it doesn't mean, diddly poo. But at the same token, like when Mel Kiper releases his first mock, I think that you hold it in high regard compared to some of the other ones out there. And I think that he did a really decent job in 1.0.
I think there's a mantra with Mel Kiper that historically he has tended to overvalue traditional pocket passers, right? Almost to a fault. Like he did it with Jimmy Clausen once upon a time. He did it with Brady Quinn. I remember like he had Jimmy Clausen going top 5 until the day of. Of course, Jimmy ended up falling to the Panthers in like late the second round. So knowing that and knowing what he put out today, it was nice to see him. We're alluding to a major shift by Kiper in the top 3, Bo Brack. Of course, the Bears taking Caleb Williams. Everybody assumes that that's going to happen now, even the folks in Chicago. The Washington Commanders, Jaden Daniels, 2nd overall. And this is doubling down on what a lot of people are saying, are hearing. We mentioned on yesterday's show, Jaden Daniels has the best quarterback tape. Maybe not the best prospect, the best QB tape in college football in the year 2023. And, oh, by the way, his skill set does translate. Good film for Mel Kiper, because it would have been easy for Mel to say, I've had Drake May as a Cone number 1 pick with Caleb Williams for 18 months, and this is the way it's going to be. And in his first mock draft, he comes out and says, like, yeah, Jaden Daniels right now, I have him over Drake May. Yeah. And that is going to infinitely help the Arizona Cardinals land their eventual pick in this mock draft. Marvin Harrison Jr., 4th overall. Drake May, of course, falls to New England, and the Cardinals get their guy. We are 3 months away from the NFL draft, but this momentum is real, and we thank the Mel Kiper Juniors of the world for making it real.
The football lords out there, I see what you've done for other fan bases. I'm asking that you do it for us, the Arizona Cardinals fans out there. Just listen to it. this one time, right? But yeah, absolutely. The hype train and Mel Kiper being the conductor now. He's got he's got it on top of that pompadour that he's got for a hairstyle he's been rocking for 40 plus years. Like, it's a beautiful thing. He's about to hit choo-choo as they leave the station, and he's leading the charge with Jaden Daniels, and that's great, right? Like, and he's seeing what you and I are seeing. And I think that's why we really respected this mock is he's like, yeah, what you said, Jaden Daniels, the tape out there, married with the numbers, married with the skill set, everything that you're going to want to see and what you're going to probably see in the pre-draft process. Like, you can marry the tape with the prospect, right? Where I think Drake May, you're going to be marrying the skill set with what it projects to be because of the lack of the tape that he put out there this season, right? 24-9 as far as his touchdown and interceptions, where he kind of fell short against the Virginias, the NC States of the world, and he was lighting up Campbell to pad some stats that aren't even that pretty. But the good thing is, at the end of the day, is that this is what, they were saying before the end of the season is it's a 3-quarterback top 5. And if it's a 3-quarterback top 5, it's likely a 1-2-3 quarterback scenario that plays right into the hands of the Arizona Cardinals, just sitting there saying, come to Papa, Marvin Harrison Jr. Come here. Let's go. Let's start anew with 20 years between legendary wide receiver drafts. Larry Fitzgerald in 2004, Marvin Harrison Jr. in 2024. You love to see it. I just hope that the stars keep aligning this way.
And here's what I also like for those that are asking. We're going to break down Kiper's mock. So I don't think we have a graphic, but we'll give you the tea. We got the subscription. We're going to give you the tea leaves here. Here's what else. Like, Kiper wrote about 2 paragraphs per team per breakdown. Here's what I really like that he emphasized about New England. Their offense was a mess. He did not go to, if you don't take a quarterback, take a receiver. You know where he went to? The offensive line. He pointed out Trent Brown, Michael Onwenu, who is going to be a top coveted player in free agency, tight ends Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki. They're losing a bunch of beef up front on the offensive line. He talked about, well, if you don't go quarterback, which he encourages them to do so, offensive line has to be the next priority. And then he doubled down by saying quarterback is by far New England's biggest need.
Right.
So I can appreciate that because, again, Marvin Harrison Jr., in my opinion, is unequivocally, even above Caleb Williams, the best player in this draft.
Yeah.
The New England Patriots do not deserve Marvin Harrison Jr. with where they're at in their rebuild. They do not.
Right.
They do not. They do have no leg to stand on. And again, like any you can do whatever you want as an NFL franchise, but it would be an egregious mistake without taking your vitamins, like the Cardinals did last year. Took their vitamins, traded down Paris Johnson Jr., edge rusher in the second, had to endure a 4-win season. The Patriots foolishly thought, Juju Smith-Schuster, and we're going to make some moves in free agency. Last year, they thought they were playoff bound. Right. They are building this house from the ground up. And as much as we consider receiver a premium position, the Patriots are in a unique spot where tackle and subsequently, especially quarterback, has to go above receiver, in my opinion. And I'm glad, even in this receiver-rich class that Mel does not disrespect, he does not entertain New England going Marvin at 3. That's kudos to you, Mel.
Right, absolutely. And like most people that think logically, rationally, like they're gonna see that, right? I mean, to give it another analogy, it's like my 2.5-year-old's gonna beg for cake for dinner, but we're gonna make sure he gets a nice nutritious meal.
Man have a piece
like,
of chocolate.
He's like, okay, we'll play that game once in New England. They can try that, right? They can have cake for dinner, and then the same thing happens to my 2.5-year-old. Like, he's gonna take a dump in his diaper. He's just gonna make a mess, and that's what's gonna happen in the regular season. Like, when we look at this, and this is why Mel Kiper Jr. is probably saying, if you're not going quarterback, you're going offensive line, because when you think about the traditional premium positions, like you and I, we believe wide receiver is a premium position, but there's some qualifiers. You got to have a quarterback. If a wide receiver is going to be a premium position, he's got to be able to get 10 to 12 to 14 targets a game. That's wide receiver one stuff in order to be really be a true premium player on your roster, and what you're going to pay a premium for, and what's worthy of having that first round grade and selection and getting that 5th-year option picked up, because it saves you that money in the long run. But if you're going to do it without a quarterback on your roster that's worth a damn, and you're going to have an offensive line, as he said, they're going to let one of their most versatile offensive line players walk. It just doesn't make any sense. It's building backwards. It's counterproductive, and it's not going to turn into success, they're going to have this Maserati sitting in, the parking lot of a shack, of a shanty. It's just, it's not built.
It's like that meme on Twitter that we see all the time with
Yeah.
that sports car underneath that, let's just call it the struggling little townhouse or whatever that is, trailer or whatever it ends up being. I'm not here to dismiss people's homes. Yeah, if you live where you live, but having a sports car next to that is the equivalent of having Marvin Harrison Jr. getting passes from Bailey Zappi.
My mortgage is $700. My car payments, $2,000. They don't make sense, right?
No, make it make sense. I'm going to make sense in some of these comments here. You guys are crushing it. Like this video, by the way. Let's get this to 300 likes today here on a Football Tuesday. Somebody mentioned in the chat that he's seen a lot of Bears. He or she's seen a lot of Bears rhetoric. Let's see if we can find this comment from experts in Chicago saying that they are keeping Justin Fields. I think that that's people in Chicago who like Justin Fields who are hoping that happens. Nobody in the scouting community, nobody in the football community, from Jay Glazer to our guy Baldy. This is from Nazer saying that more rhetoric about Caleb Williams draft possibilities. The people in the know say go with Caleb Williams. So what do you think Ryan Poles is going to do? Ryan Poles did not draft Justin Fields. Ryan Poles knows that his shelf life as a GM gets extended with Caleb Williams. If he doubles down on Justin Fields and Justin Fields fails next year, everybody's getting fired there. So they're taking Caleb Williams. I don't even I can appreciate people in Chicago like standing on 2 feet and preaching to the high heavens like we love Justin Fields, we want to keep him. That's great. And he's by all accounts a great guy. It's not the smart football decision. It's just not. And it feels personal to people in the know that like and respect Justin Fields. It's not personal. This is a business decision.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like the conversation we have, about maybe the pass rush room for the Cardinals or some of the players that you rooted for that became fan favorites, carved out, their role in this fan base. And they're like, we like this guy. We like the Gardex. We love Zaven Collins. It's like, if you like these guys, you're going to love great players. Yeah. And I was thinking about it today. I let my mind go wild. And here I am covering the Arizona Cardinals here in Phoenix. And I'm like, man, I can't wait to see Caleb Williams play in the NFL. Like, he's going to be an amazing player. I mean, I know there's red flags, and if you're building an organization around him, you have your hesitations, right? But he's still an elite prospect.
He is.
And to think about him playing on NFL Sundays and in prime time, like, he's got the skill set that's electric. And to say, like, to pit that up against a guy who you had to, like, really manipulate the numbers to kind of make the case for, who's won 10 games in his 3-year NFL career. I mean, it's absurd. It's an absurd debate. Like, Caleb Williams is the guy.
It's not a real debate.
If you're worth a lick as an NFL GM, you've already made the decision. You made the decision long ago. Caleb Williams is the guy. Like, there's just no debate. Like, you can listen to all the sports talk shows. You can fire up whatever, podunk podcasts you want, and they can make their case for Justin Fields. But it's wrong. It's the wrong move. He's going 1-1.
Correct. Absolutely. I want to get to this comment. MKBF, what do you guys think about John Gambadaro saying today it's 50-50 on Marv, even if he's there for the Cardinals? Said they may go offensive tackle at 4. I really like Gambo. I can say that that's unequivocally false, and that they will take Marvin Harrison Jr. 4th overall. That's what I have. I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. is the number 1 player on their board. If they take an offensive tackle, it's because they're trading down and recouping more assets, and Marvin goes in the top 3. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the number 1 player on their board for the NFL draft. Now, maybe something changes in the next 3 months. Hopefully not. Hopefully his case continues to be strengthened. But I mean, like, nobody in the draft scouting community has an offensive lineman ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr. The only precursor is, do you need a quarterback? That's the we don't see Alu Fashanu, as much as we like him, going 3rd overall over Marvin or Joe Alt. I mean, it's like, if a team wants to trade down, recoup assets like Dwellinga and take a lineman, that's a different story. They are not sticking and picking, passing on a generational wide receiver to take another tackle. They can trust their board and get a tackle at 27, like we're going to talk about, or 35. I love Gambo, and he's got his sources. He's tapped in. That's just, it's not the case. They're taking Marvin if he's there at 4, if the medicals check out.
Is he trying to make money on Twitter? Is he trying to just get engagement with that type of report?
Was it on Twitter or was it on radio? I don't know.
I have no idea. First off, I can't see his tweets. He blocked me for no reason. But I've never said anything about him. But That's an absurd take. That ain't happening. It's not. The best overall prospect in this draft, the best non-quarterback in this draft is going to fall into your lap, and you're going, maybe we'll go build the Lions. Maybe that's what we're going to do. It ain't happening. Not 50-50, a coin flip.
I got a message late in the year talking about their frustrations with positions on the team, and I get Humphreys was still healthy at the time. They love their offensive line this year. You know what they didn't love? Their wide receivers. Their wide receivers and their pass rushers and their cornerbacks.
Playmaking wide receiver. Dad's a Hall of Famer. He outworks everyone. You're like, I don't know. Gee, maybe, a nice left tackle would be great. Get out of here.
That's a hot take. That's the definition of a hot take. It was my MKBF saying, it was on the radio, said, write Marv in with pencil. Like that to me, no. If you're doing that, only if he gets taken third overall. He's in pen. It's over. If he checks out medically, it's over. It's done. Gannon loves Marvin Harrison Jr. Loves him. Paris Johnson Jr. is campaigning for him. Paris Johnson Jr. can play left tackle. Mel Kiper Jr. in this mock, we haven't even gotten to it yet, saying Paris is a left tackle. Move him to left tackle. You know what you don't do then? Take a right tackle at 4th overall and pass on Marvin Harrison Jr. Take a right tackle at 27 or 35 or sign one in free agency. Come on now. I feel like we're just saying stuff to say stuff now.
50-50.
No.
Come on.
Incorrect.
Come on. Monty will watch the tape of these prospects just to do his due diligence, but he knows when the Cardinals are on the clock and Marvin Harrison Jr. is on the board, he's turning in the card. 50-50.
They will put out things in the offseason to make people think that they're not in love with him, but you don't want to get jumped. The Cardinals have been jumped for Patrick Mahomes. They've been jumped for Deshaun Watson. Yeah, smoke screens. He is their number one player on their board that they scouted this this college football season. I love Joe Alt. Joe Alt or Alu Fashanu could have very well been a Cardinal had Matt Prater made the field goal. And they could still be if Marvin Harrison Jr. is not available. But guess what? He didn't make that field goal. And they are picking 4th. And Jane Daniels is a freight train from hell. And we love him for that. And now there's a chance, 60-40, 70-30, that a certain receiver from Columbus, Ohio is going to be there for the taking.
I mean, you beat Philadelphia and you kind of handicap your ability to get a Marvin Harrison Jr. because you fall down and it's tough getting back up the draft board again, right? And then, the dominoes seem to be falling in your direction. And then no general manager with this opportunity to get arguably the best player on the entire board.
The last 2 years.
You know what?
The best player in the last 2 years, the last 2 drafts.
Ain't happening.
Can I just say, too, where did Ossenford come from? New England?
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee. What's happened in New England and Tennessee? Obviously, quarterback issues. He doesn't have that. New England could never develop receivers, and he saw how much that's been a detriment recently, and they don't have a quarterback anyway. Tennessee traded away A.J. Brown, and it got everybody fired. Everybody lost their job. Vrabel lost his job. The GM lost his job. And then subsequently, what did Jonathan Gannon see? We traded for A.J. Brown, the other team on that equation, and we went to the Super Bowl. You have to have weapons. I love building the O-line. This is the most physical Cardinal offensive line of the last 20 years of my adult lifetime. The 49ers and the Detroit Lions have weapons for days. Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. And again, you can get those guys later on. But why do you need to do that when you have a sure thing, right? He's a sure thing. I love Joel and Alu Fashanu. They are not sure things. They could bust. The buzz factor with Marvin is 0.001. That's it. He's not busting.
No. And
what are we doing? Come on.
You can sell a fan base. Has this happened before? Yeah, it's fucking happened before. Remember when they took Levi Brown instead of Adrian Peterson? They tried to go and do the right thing and take the tackle out of Penn State. They're gonna say, hey, maybe it will work this time with this Penn State tackle, Olu Fashanu. No, it ain't happened.
They couldn't complete passes downfield that weren't to, and I love him, 5'9" Greg Dortch or Trey McBride. That was it. And then Michael Wilson reemerged in the finale. and they're going to sit there and pass on a true number one receiver. Let me read you what Mel Kiper said about the Cardinals in this situation, basically talking about Kyler Murray, the jump that they made offensively, and that they need the number one receiver. Harrison is one of the best receiver prospects of the past decade. Not in this draft. Of the past 10
maybe
years.
We should take a tackle instead. Best receiver prospect in a decade, but maybe take a tackle. I don't know. 50. I'm 50-50. Flip a coin. Let's Harvey Dent this bitch. No.
A 6'4". Oh, I love the Two-Face reference. A 6'4" speedster who can run every route, break tackles after the catch. In Arizona, Hollywood Brown, a free agent, gone. Harrison Jr. can step in, the number one receiver as a rookie, has all the tools to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And they can get a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman with the Texans pick. What are we doing? Like, come on now. That nothing leads you to believe, if they do that it's not the right decision. Of course it is. It's definitely the right decision.
Yeah, the best wide receiver prospect since Calvin Johnson. You're gonna be like, maybe I'll take, this. We don't even know if he's the consensus top tackle in the draft. There's two good ones, but and Malik Neighbors, who everybody's telling us would be the top wide receiver in this class if it weren't for Marvin Harrison Jr. And like, you're just going to say, yeah, you know what? I think the tackle is the right position to go to. We took one last year. Maybe we'll move forward this year. It's absurd to throw 50-50. Hyperbole maybe. Maybe it's staring down like, man, how am I going to talk this long between now and draft day about the Cardinals taking Marvin Harrison?
We don't have that problem.
Got to create some sort of like fake debate. There's no debate. It's over. It's like Marvin Harrison Jr. is that type of prospect where you just, if he falls in your lap, you take him.
Joel in the chat, like, I know we brought this up. It's a good point he's making. It's not what people want to hear. And I know he's not dabbling in roster decisions or personnel decisions, but Joel's saying Bidwell saw how Larry Fitz became a legend in Arizona. He'd probably tell Mondi to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm sure Bidwell's preference is to take Marvin. Of course it is. He's not going to tell them who to draft. But like, if you ask him his opinion, Michael Bidwell knows who Marvin Harrison Jr. is. I have a Johnny on the spot dropping later this week comparing the impact of MHJ to that of Larry Fitzgerald. So that's not lost on the 20-year anniversary, as my co-host said, of drafting Larry Fitzgerald. Like, they would probably have Larry Fitzgerald at his introductory press conference, like a passing of the baton of sorts. Like, they want that. Plus, the Cardinals have the quarterback to maximize Marvin right away. Yeah. Why did Jamar Chase hit right away? Yeah, Joe Burrow, right? You have to have these pieces of the equation. Like, Mike Evans popped off with Jameis and Tom Brady. Like, I get it. Like, you want to elevate your roster with a singular player, but it's also like, I'm baking a cake and I have 9 out of 10 ingredients and I can make it a gourmet cake, but I need this one last ingredient. That's what Marvin Harrison Jr. is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know. It's not worth arguing. I appreciate the point that was brought up in the chat, but it's just, let's not create fake narratives, because that's what it is.
I mean, if I heard that, if I'm listening in my car, and I appreciate dropping this, and it's fun fodder,
it's
whatever.
A good talking point for sure.
But if I hear that and it's on the radio, on Sports Talk Radio, and it's 50-50, I'm heading down the dial like KUPD and I'm listening to rock music. I'm not listening any further. I'm not entertaining it, because it's not believable.
They're gonna be fine.
I got Kelly Clarkson blasting through my car speakers, like before you know it. Like, yeah, I'm just going down the dial.
Illa Dre, $4.99. I love this. If the Bears keep Fields, they need to take their franchise out of Illinois. I don't even like, if the Bears kept Justin Fields, number one, you're putting a timeline on everybody getting fired, and you're also putting a timeline on like drafting another quarterback in the next 1 to 2 years. It's a fun media talking point, and it's easier to discuss than whatever the hell we just talked about 50-50 on MHJ. The people who are campaigning for Justin Fields have an emotional investment, but in all actuality, 10 wins in 3 years, underperforming as a pocket passer and is very much an athlete playing quarterback. Like, you compound. If this is the Kenny Pickett draft with Malik Willis, they're keeping Justin Fields. Guess what? It's not. It's a quarterback with Caleb Williams available. So you take Caleb Williams. Yeah. We would be having this conversation had Kyler Murray not been able to play the Cardinals out of the first overall pick. We're not talking about that, because Kyler played well. And we've seen him play much better than Justin Fields historically. The Bears have never seen that. And also, you trade out of that pick last year with Carolina, hoping that this is a scenario that's presented to you. What if the Houston Texans, Bo, were picking first overall and Kyler Murray was just okay at the end of the year? We would be having this conversation. It's a responsible conversation to have.
Yep.
But we're not. The Texans are picking 27th. The Cardinals are picking 4th. The Bears are picking 1st.
27th. It's unreal.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to even bring it up. I wasn't even going to talk. Well, we have to talk about it with the second part of the mock draft. We're going to get to that here in a second. But first, I want to tell you about our friends at DraftKings. Again, hit that like button if you're on DraftKings. If not, what are you waiting for? Championship round this weekend. You can do a 2-game parlay, money line, prop bets. My heart wants to pick the Detroit Lions. My head says I think Purdy has a bounce back game. Parlay of the week with DraftKings. I'm going to go chalk favorites, Baltimore, San Francisco, but make your own with the bonus code PHNX. Bet $5 if you're a new customer on any game this weekend. Get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Perfect way to pivot into Super Bowl Sunday. Use those bonus bets on the many props coming down the pipeline. Again, it's a call to action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app with bonus code PHNX. $5 is going to get you $200 instantly in bonus bets. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY, New York, or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for your gambling problem. If you've got one, call 888-7899-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Folks, please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino Resort in Kansas. 21 and up. Varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. The bonus bets, they do expire after 168 hours, so use them or lose them. See DraftKings.com/football for eligibility restrictions, deposit terms, and responsible gambling resources, Bo.
We ask that you drink responsibly and you're not throwing 50-50 on the Arizona Cardinals drafts, Marvin Harrison Jr., if he's available. We, of course, ask you to drink responsibly when indulging in the delicious Four Peaks. We love Four Peaks, right? It's always great to have one in hand on Super Bowl Sunday. Obviously, conference championships coming up as well. Get yourself some Four Peaks, your watch party. Bolster it with the most delicious beer that's brewed right here in our great state of Arizona. Now 26 years old, Four Peaks. It's been woven within the fabric of our great state 48. Kilt Lifter, it's the flagship. You got the Redbird Lager, still repping your Cardinals. You got the #1 wheat beer in Arizona, the Wow Wheat. It's fantastic. And they got a new beer. It's the Bad Birdie Juicy Golden Ale. It's a collab between Four Peaks and Bad Birdie. It's super drinkable. It's a perfect companion out there on the tee box. When the rain clears up, get out there, get yourself some Bad Birdie Juicy Golden Ale. Visit fourpeaks.com/locator to find all your favorite beers and events. You can find out, is it in the Fry's down your street? Is it your local Circle K? Usually always is. So pop in there and check out at Four Peaks Brew and at Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest with Arizona's hometown brewery. Got to be 21 years or older. And once again, we ask that you drink responsibly.
Be responsible. Like this video. Again, 300 likes is the goal. Baharo in the chat, Johnny K1 did just play okay at best this year. No, he elevated them to a top 10 offense in total yards. And his last 3 games, he had over 100 combined quarterback rating. And was playing his best football at the end of the year. He was coming off a torn ACL in a new system. Justin Fields had all offseason to be healthy and subsequently got waxed in the opener against Jordan Love and a rebuilding Packer team. Like, the Bears were projected to win over 8.5 games. That was their over-under from Vegas. The Cardinals were not favored in any game. Yeah. And Kyler Murray went out, should have gone 500 with a bottom third, maybe worse roster in the NFL. Like, come on, let's be fair here. Like, you can say Kyler Murray's got some stuff to work on. Justin Fields had everything in front of him with DJ Moore and company, and couldn't take advantage. And that's what happens. And now he's going to get replaced.
We've seen all the aggregate accounts out there, put it out there. Cardinals, without Kyler Murray, they were bottom tier offense, 28th as far as points per game, just under 17 points, under 290 yards per game. That's 26. With Kyler Murray in the 8 games, they had 22.5 points scored. That was 13th, and 362 yards per game. That's top 10 in the NFL. Top 10 from 26 to top 10 as far as yardage. We know that they had their issues in the red zone, something they got to clean up, something that they got better at during, the end of the year. they were close to a fringe top 10 offense with Kyler Murray before they were a bottom tier offense without Kyler Murray.
Weren't they like 1-12 without him? And he comes back and he plays 500. I'm going to say he played 500 football because
3-5. He's a Matt Prater, two misses away. Not one, but two.
He led a game-winning drive.
Yeah.
And again, your red zone woes are I think aided by maybe a 6'4" receiver from Columbus, Ohio.
That the drive in against Seattle, they get the ball with 8 minutes left. They drive it down, and Matt Prater, they take it into like close to the 2-minute warning. And then Matt Prater misses what would have put him up 2 possessions. That game out of hand.
Game's over.
And then Geno Smith goes down, scores, gets the 2-point conversion. Up, ball back in Kyler Murray's hands.
Does it again.
Drives him down. But yeah, he was pretty average. Whatever.
I like watching this team win games, and they win more games with Kyler Murray than without Kyler Murray. Picking spreads $4.99 front of the program. By the way, I still believe AZ traded up or will trade up from 27. They have 13 picks. Not everyone will make the roster. If you fall in love with a kid, go get the kid you love. I have no issue with that mindset. They love a kid, go up and get him. That brings us into our friend picking spreads. The bottom half of the first round. Now, I do quickly, people at home were asking, what is the rest of this mock? So I'm going to quickly go through some of these picks. So Marvin goes 4. Brock Bowers 5 to the Chargers. Bo Malik Neighbors 6 to the Giants. Joe Alt, the first tackle, Tennessee. Falcons go Dallas Turner. Bears go Rome Odunze. Alu Fashanu 10 to the Jets. So again, that for the most part, same cast of characters we've been seeing. Then it gets a little dicey in the teens, and there's a run on defenders. Nate Wiggins, Clemson cornerback, goes to Minnesota. Latu pass rusher, Broncos. Arnold, the cornerback out of Alabama, Las Vegas Raiders. Sure feels like Kool-Aid's fallen out of favor with a lot of folks. New Orleans Saints going Brian Thomas Jr., who I got at 27 in my last mock draft. Everybody mocked me for it. Keon Coleman to the Patriots. So at this point, we have 5 receivers in the top 15. So almost, what is that? A third of the draft is receivers. But yeah, let's pass on a receiver at 4 and just hope and pray one makes it to 27. I digress. The most shocking pick of the first round, and Kiper is always known for one of these curveballs. Pick 16, our friends in Seattle. I would sign up for this today. Quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, Michigan. He and Dan Campbell. Let's sign up for that tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just and Dan Quinn, right? Dan Quinn, Dan
Quinn,
Campbell.
I'm sorry, not Dan Campbell. Dan Quinn.
Just, if you would love to see that. You would love to just see this organization continue to fumble away. They had a near perfect rebound in their rebuild. Like they make the playoffs in year 1 and then nearly make the playoffs again this year. And then they decide they give poor Pete, his gold watch and kind of lead him out the building, right? And he wants to still coach.
Yeah.
After winning, only finishing 1 season under 500 in a dozen years, it's absurd. Making the playoffs like 10 out of 12 years, it's unreal. So you just continue to applaud it. These poor move after poor move from the Seattle Seahawks that let what many consider. I think Brad Spielberger said that the Waldron was the top offensive coordinator candidate that they just let leave from their coaching staff to go to the Chicago Bears. So if that happens, like I'm real skeptical about J.J. McCarthy, 1, as an NFL quarterback, and 2, certainly as a first rounder. And if they want to do that and utilize a first round pick, go for it. But I think, unfortunately, like Pete Carroll, John Schneider, for a dozen years have been leading the charge there and have done a great job. If ownership continues to meddle and put their hands all over this organization, go for it, please.
I'd rather have Michael Penix or Bo Nix before J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy with an NFL caliber offensive line he was a game manager. You don't take those 16th overall. So to continue on, Jags go Cooper DeJean, 17th overall. J.C. Latham, nice tackle, Alabama, goes to the Bengals. Jared Verse falls to the Rams at 19. Lassiter, Kamari out of Georgia, goes to the Steelers. So had a little bit of a run on corners. Now we get to the mid to late 20s. Miami Dolphins at 21. Troy Fautanu, excuse me if I mispronounced that. Fautanu, excuse me.
Yep.
Tackle guard out of Washington. Back-to-back tackle prospects. Eagles replacing maybe Lane Johnson, who turns 34. They get Fauga from Oregon State. Jerzon Newton to Houston via the Cleveland pick at 23. Dallas goes Jordan Morgan at 24, the tackle. So a lot of tackles that fall to the 20. The receivers go early. The tackle's now in the 20. Kingsley Sayuma. I'm butchering this guy's last name. I'm so sorry. The tackle out of BYU.
Kingsley, yeah.
He goes 25 to the Packers. Chop Robinson, 26 to the Buccaneers. The Arizona Cardinals, I think this is offensive tackle number 7. Tyler Guyton, right tackle, Oklahoma, 6'7". So there it is. Guyton, 27th overall. The Cardinals get wide receiver 1, and they get tackle number 7 at 27.
Yeah, just doing some research because, Guyton, he's going to be a Senior Bowl guy that Damon and I are going to get a glimpse of firsthand next week when we're there in Mobile. But he's a fringe top 10 tackle guy. It just depends on how you have him on your board. Didn't give up a sack. He's playing the right tackle position at Oklahoma, so that would only mean that you're going to probably pop Paris Johnson Jr. over from right tackle to left tackle, and you got your bookends going forward. But great physical tools that they're looking for. When they've got guys like the corners, and Kiper mentioned this, Kenyon Mitchell out of Toledo and Enos Rakestraw Jr. out of Missouri, out of Mizzou, that they would seriously consider and start to rebuild that defense. But with the Humphreys injury and obviously the extension for Kyler Murray kicking in this year, to get another tackle to really kind of get to set that, you can't really disagree with it. Like I think that Guyton is a top 50 guy, and you look at it and it's like, well, why wouldn't you just take a tackle at 34 or 35? It's because you get that extra year potentially of controllability, the 5th-year option for the tackle. And if that's the guy you like, you take him there.
I like that he's comfortable playing right tackle. I like the tackles from Oklahoma typically translate well to the NFL. I know it's a different regime. I think he was recruited by Lincoln Riley once upon a time. And I also just feel like we've talked about this, Bo, like lean into the strength of the draft. It's tackle and it's wide receiver. But nothing can convince me if you take Joe Alt or Alu Fashanu at 4, like the scenario we discussed earlier, that an impact receiver is going to make it to 27. It is not. That is a farce. Even somebody that we're lukewarm on, Keon Coleman, went 15th overall. So you're hoping and praying. I don't want to be in that mindset on draft night. And the Cardinals, newsflash, don't want to either. Had the Houston pick been top 20, maybe you can entertain that.
Yeah.
There is going to be a tackle available. There's going to be a corner, an edge rusher for you to take BPA at 27. Go nuts. Trade a 3rd rounder. Come up a couple spots. There's another tackle in Mims that goes about 3 picks later. 8 tackles, 9 if you consider the kid from Washington a tackle in the 1st round. Most of them went in the back half of the 1st round, which is signaling quality depth. Get hopefully a 7-year starter. Maybe a couple of them make a Pro Bowl. Hall of Fame level prospect, Marvin Harrison Jr. That's what you have to compare everything else to. So if I'm trading down and I'm passing on a Hall of Fame level caliber talent, I better know I'm going to equate this to multiple Pro Bowlers at other positions. That's what you have to decipher in your head. Good luck making that come to fruition. That's why they wouldn't pass on him. It all just comes back to that.
Yeah. Wade Millard making a good point here with Dylan Gabriel, who went in the portal to Oregon. But the point is he was a lefty quarterback. Playing right tackle is the equivalent of playing left tackle. So, yeah. So I guess it doesn't necessarily mean you flip Paris Johnson Jr., but I think Paris Johnson Jr. projects probably, and especially having a year of experience under his belt, that you would want to protect Kyler Murray's line side with PJ instead of a guy like Guyton or whatever tackle they could potentially get at 27. Arizona Animal saying at 27 you take the best player available. In my position at any position need, tackle, defensive tackle, and cornerback. Yep. Doug saying, not gonna lie, that Capri Sun look fire right now. Absolutely, it is. It's refreshing. It's delicious. Damon Dog's got his. Cheers.
Those are for me. You stole those from me. Those were meant for your boy.
No, our guy Ken. He's making sure
my guy Ken. Those are for me. Austin Romano, $2 super chat. Capri Sun, cheers for the draft. Trade up from 27. Again, if we trade up, if the Cardinals trade up and they use one of their thirds, they wouldn't use their second, obviously. Go nuts. Go.
Yeah.
If you feel like one of these tackles is top 3 to 4 on your board and you want to go up for him, do that. You love Cooper DeJean. I'm not going to argue with it. You want to get Jared Verse ahead of the Rams? Go nuts. So, again, you get Marvin. Don't you feel like if they get Marvin at 4, you're just playing with house money the rest of the draft?
I mean,
there's very few instances where we're going to be disappointed.
And it's where you take, I think, where you really do evaluate, do you want to trade up? Is there somebody like last year where they see that there's about to be a run on tackles and there's a guy that you have a conviction in, right? Paris Johnson Jr., that they were willing to take at 3 and they said, okay, we're at 12. We got to get back up. We got to get back in the top 10 because there's about to be a couple guys going off the board and he's probably going to be the first one to start a run on tackles. And you can, you have the benefit of 3/3. And I know, we're like, oh, don't touch our draft capital. We love it, right? But, if you can get out of the first round with 2 surefire and probably the second round with that 5th overall pick, if you can get out of there with 3 surefire picks, draft class is a success already. And, you can utilize that third. If you utilize the 3rd and the 27th overall to get up, potentially beginning in the 20s, I think it's worthy of that.
Topic 64, $4.99 JV Bo B. My guys, move Paris Johnson Jr. to the left side and let's roll. I would be surprised if March rolls around and they're doing, when does mini camp on the early April? Initial kind of screw around field time. Yeah. Bo be out there. We'll see Paris at left tackle.
Yeah. Probably.
We know Kelvin Beachum can play right tackle. He did it for a long time.
Right. And you've got him on, but also if you get somebody like Guyton or whoever, maybe one of these other prospects, and Will Hernandez is a great dude on the right side. You got him under contract and he'll do the same thing, mentoring of this rookie, just like he did with Paris Johnson Jr. And you have that dynamic, right tackle, right guard duo. And then you're shoring up, hopefully this offseason, your left side, with DJ Humphries, unfortunately, suffering the injury and being on the wrong side of 30. And you're just kind of ushering in a new era of Arizona Cardinals offensive linemen. And you're able to bookend, you're close to $50 million per season on average quarterback with a couple controllable tackles that project out to be rock solid starters, if not better.
We're going to do a mock draft. We might talk about PFF contract predictions, but we're definitely going to talk about our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union, the official credit union of the Venerable household and our Arizona Cardinals for more than 84 years. Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicating to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and folks providing and helping with some financial solutions to enrich a better life for their customers. The Desert Financial team are financial experts who are committed to their members and continuity, community, financial solutions tailored to helping real people like me, like you. I ditched my old credit union. Desert Financial Credit Union is a staple here in the Valley, in the East Valley. Tons of locations to help you with checking, savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit card options, and more. Again, if you don't know how to get started, let them help you. Fabulous customer service. DesertFinancial.com. You can sign up for a checking account online. It takes a matter of minutes. You're going to get your debit card in the mail. And how about this? Represent the Red Sea with the Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card. It's a full package, right? Cardinals, Visa, debit card, Desert Financial. Let them help you. Get your money now. Whatever you need, debit cards, mortgages, loans, credit cards. It's a one-stop shop, a financial institution. That is Desert Financial Credit Union.
Get that Cardinals debit card, take it out there, get yourself a 12er of Capri Sun and pop some emojis. And you got yourself a nice little, Tuesday night?
Sounds like a great night.
Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Just kicking your feet up and you're enjoying 2 new products in the new year. We love our friends over at OG's. They're in Arizona. OG, your favorite cannabis kitchen here because they're cooking up all the great gummies. 2 new products, one with live rosin, the RSO Rick Simpson oil, and OG's Naturals in the big OGs, as big as your face. But, you can cut them up into little singles and take your time. Probably should, right? They got the perforated into 10 slices, each with 10 milligrams of THC, a total of 100 milligrams of THC. But if you're looking for, something more intense or something more laid back, OG's got something for everyone out there. They even got a sleep time gummy, the aquaberry flavor. It's going to help put you to sleep, keep you asleep. It's delicious aquaberry flavored. check out their full product line, ogsbrands.com, and also check them out on your socials at ogsbrands. Got to be 21 years or older. You can find them in your local dispensary all around the valley.
I think we'll do PFF predictions for defensive linemen maybe mañana.
Yeah.
Because right now we need as much time as we can. It's a Tuesday. It's a Monty mock draft Tuesday. Folks, you know what time it is. Let's put on our mock draft caps a la Monty Austin Ford, and let's tap in with our friends at Pro Football Focus, the PFF mock draft simulator. Bo Brack, you let me know. Sharing my screen for another mock draft here on a Tuesday.
Monty, we can see your screen. It's looking great.
Let's start our engines. Now, I want to preface all this by saying I was dragged through the mud last week. People didn't appreciate my mock draft. I am going to defer to my co-host today. I want you and Damon Dog to take all the arrows because, listen, my mocks, can they get a little dicey? Absolutely. But I am here for the people, and if the people want Bo and Damon Dog to drive today, that's fine. I am merely your chauffeur.
I think we should do it like how Monty in the Cardinals front office is going to do it. And it's a real collaborative effort. You know what I mean?
So you really want to channel all of our inner Monties.
Absolutely.
We're going full Monty on this mock draft. It's a Monty mock draft Tuesday. I don't know how we dropped the ball and then do a Monty mock draft Monday, but we're going MMT. And you're all right, Johnny. If you can't take the arrow to the head, we are actually we'll do it for you.
I'm going to defer, and I promise I will not get click happy today. I want the chat to participate. I want everybody's input, okay? And you'll have to keep me honest because I can't see the chat. We're going to kick things off, though. Any interest in trading up? Anybody have any interest in trading up?
No, I mean, I feel confident. I know that the simulator is a little bit of a wild card, but I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to stick and pick 4th overall. Let's start this bad boy. Looks like it backfired horrendously.
Yes.
And the New England Patriots, this is absolute just madness as far as what's going on. Drake May goes 1. Caleb Williams goes 2. Marvin Harrison Jr. goes 3. So the Arizona Cardinals are on the clock with staring down Malik Neighbors draft, Joe Alt potentially, Roma Dunze, and Olu Fashanu. So
the mock heard that I was deferring and then and became violent. The mock draft got violent.
I think so the Giants want to get up from 6 to 4. Let's wheel and deal.
So 6 and 4, obviously you would need 39. Is that enough? A top 40 pick? Is that enough? I think that's probably enough because Jaden Daniels here. If Malik Neighbors is gone at 5, Olu Fashanu, Joe Alt, Roma Dunze. So you're passing on maybe Malik Neighbors, but you're getting pick 39. Is that enough?
Yeah, I mean, I like Monty Austinford's burner just said F. Perfect Pass Sports saying unrealistic start over. Brian B.A. saying Mulligan start over again.
No, we can't. We're doing many of these.
Just going through I know you can't see the chat.
We got to play the cards.
We got Austin Trinnell. We got you turds saying everybody's saying trade back in this situation. Arizona Animals saying trade down. Let's trade down with the G-men. They want to get up and continue to ruin their organization. Let's go. Trade is accepted.
Yes. So Cardinals now have another top 40 pick, and we're going to resume the draft. And here's what happens. Oh my goodness. Malik Neighbors goes 4th overall. Jim Harbaugh takes Cooper DeJean 5th overall. That is a shocking pick. That is one of the most shocking picks of the draft. Here's what I will say. Jaden Daniels is still available. Do you entertain trading down one more time with the idea that you could still get Olu Fashanu, Roma Dunze, or Joe Alt?
No, I don't want to get too trade down crazy. Like, I get it. It's fun, but let's stick and pick. Let's take the tackle out of Notre Dame, 6'8", 20 years old. Just Mahler over there for the Fighting Irish.
I love him so much. I feel like I don't get to talk about him as much because Marvin fever has engulfed the valley, rightfully so. But I'm with you. This it's a no-brainer. And now you're equipped with another top 40 pick.
And now the Arizona Cardinals are back on the clock at 27th overall. And a good receiver right there on the board for you from Oregon and Troy Franklin. He's what, 6'3", playmaker for the Ducks. He was the top target there for Bo Nix. But let's take a look at these other prospects just around him real quick. You got the cornerback out of Mizzou that Mel Kiper mentioned in his draft that he considered for the Cardinals instead of taking Guyton out of Oklahoma. Lad McConkey, about 6 foot wide receiver, playmaker out of Georgia. Probably not. Kamari Lassiter's a cornerback that's there. Kenyon Mitchell, who you might be able to roll the dice and get it, down the road here for the Cardinals at 35. So I'm looking at this with Alt there. I think you take the kid out of Oregon in Troy Franklin. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you cannot expect to get to pick 35 and hope to pick the carcass of the first round receivers. I think you're asking for trouble. And again, we know PFF's not a huge fan of Keon Coleman. That's fine. Some good value in the secondary, but I think there's going to be if you want a corner or a defensive lineman, I think there's still going to be there. About 8 picks later, and then also the Cardinals have 39 as well. So we know definitively Troy Franklin's going to go here, maybe as early as 28 or 29. So I'm with you. That's the pick, in my opinion.
All right, so we go with Alt out of Notre Dame and a trade down at 6. We take Franklin at 27. We're back on the clock at 35. And you've got, you don't really need to look at these tackles anymore. I think you need to address either the defensive line here or the cornerback room. Maybe Kamari Lassiter. Do you go Kenyon Mitchell out of Toledo, who's a fast riser? Lassiter, of course, SEC guy. Toledo. Is that Maction? Is Toledo Maction? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mitchell. Playing on Tuesday nights. You got,
look at these numbers last year. He had 3 touchdowns last year, 5 interceptions. And he's a big time prospect. I like the idea. I'm just putting my 2 cents in. Corner and then best available defensive lineman at pick 35. I think the value's there for both of those positions. Looking
at the chat, people saying Byron Murphy the second, a couple people saying Lassiter, another Byron Murphy.
I think you can get Byron at 39. I like that. I like that idea.
Oh yeah, we did get that extra pick with the trade down. So let's go Kenyon Mitchell out of Toledo. That's my decision.
Okay. All right. Being trumped. He's got the skill set. And now we're looking. Do you have any temptation to go Fontenot, knowing? Hang on.
No,
knowing that he could play left guard next to Paris Johnson Jr.
How about no? No. You just took Joe Alt.
But you wouldn't take a guard if you got an extra pick in the top 40.
I like the guards later in the 3rd and 4th rounds, like the Cooper Beebes and the Christian Haynes.
So you're comfortable. You don't have an heir apparent for Will Hernandez, the last year of his contract. You don't have a left guard technically already. Listen,
there's Byron Murphy the second staring you in the face and saying, "Hey, where's the beef? It's right here."
I think this is great value. I'm just making my case.
Yeah.
I think this is great value, and I think he's the kind of player that Austin Ford and company. And look, he's played left guard before, but if he's got a ceiling of a tackle and you don't need a tackle, I get that.
You're sitting here and you're telling me a defensive tackle is a premium position and you got one staring in your face and you want to take a surplus of offensive linemen. It's just no. Byron Murphy, is Chris Jenkins already go?
I don't think so. PFF doesn't love him.
There's Chris Jenkins. So it's Coke or Dr. Pepper. It's Byron Murphy the second or Chris Jenkins. Do you want the national champ or do you want the guy that was integral part in Texas making all their noise that they did? I think you take Byron Murphy the second here.
And you pick. Listen, I would love that.
He's so defeated.
No, I'm not disappointed. I'm trying to project value, long-term value. And again, you're correct. Because I have to wrap my brain around Alt, Paris Johnson Jr., those are your tackles. So the kid out of Washington probably can never live up to his potential if we're putting him at a guard. So that's fine. I have no issue with that. I like Byron Murphy Jr.
Well, you got Kingsley out of BYU here that you could do the same thing that you're talking about Washington. You could kick him inside. Let's take a look. So we're back on the clock.
We are, yeah.
This is the first of 3 third-rounders.
And these are set, by the way, 66, 71, and 90. Those are done deals.
Boston Ford saying, Johnny's a maniac in these drafts, laughing emoji. Austin saying linebacker here. He likes, what do you like, Jeremiah Trotter Jr.?
Guys, don't even get me started with that. These linebackers and safeties, guess what? They're going to be here at pick 90 as well.
Johnny
we
loves
know how this goes.
linebackers.
He loves ACC defenders, doesn't he? If I know anything about my old friend Johnny Venerable.
Why am I your old friend? Am I still your friend?
Because we go way back.
We do.
So could you get Zach Frazier, the center out of West Virginia? I mean, you would be getting Yelda Froholt's successor there. I don't know
listen, if you can play center, you can play guard, typically. And I think
his size.
I mean, that's a guard, 6'3", 310. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's your left guard next year. And then if you want to extend Yelda Froholdt, you keep him a left guard. If you want to make him a center, you can. He is unequivocally, in my opinion, the best player available, because then you're looking
Scroll down a little bit. Can you get below?
Yeah, because then you're looking at a bunch of off-ball linebackers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Haynes looks good at the guard position. He's what people have tabbed the best guard in this draft, but true guard.
I mean, Kingsley. I mean, Kiper just had him going in the first, but again, where is he playing?
I mean, you didn't have that problem with the kid from Washington. You're making.
Well, I just got scolded for that, so I'm not going to bring that up again.
How big is Kingsley?
Big boy.
He's huge. He is, 6'6", 315.
Yeah, that might be a little big for a guard.
Yeah, and he gave up some pressures and some sacks this year, but he played his best games. Look, against Oklahoma, West Virginia. Yeah, worked against Texas. I'm not going to pretend like I know a lot about him. Here's the issue. Your guards need to be a dominant run blocker, and he struggled. He's a plus pass blocker. He's a finesse player like a tackle. Whereas, okay, if we look at Zach Frazier here and we look at some of these metrics, much better, more even keeled as a run blocker and a pass blocker. So I have no dog in this fight. I'm not making the picks. I'm just a lowly scout in the draft room.
No. Okay, keep going down here. Let's get past this Clemson defensive lineman. McMillan, you already took Troy Franklin. Not to say you should be done there. You got the corner.
I like Haynes and McMillan. Those are my two.
I think you can get them at 71 and potentially 90.
But it's the third round. I mean, you're reaching 5 picks on a guy if you like him.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
I'm going to take. I'm just torn between Frazier and Kingsley here.
You would play Kingsley at guard?
Yeah, that's why I think it would be a wasted pick. Let's go with Frazier.
Good job, Bo. That's the right decision. Like, objectively, like, if you're asking my opinion, that's the right decision, because now here's what you've done. In the last 2 drafts, to set your franchise quarterback up for success, you took a top 10 tackle, a top 10 tackle, a top 30 wide receiver, and a top 70 center. Like that's the infrastructure that will hopefully elevate Kyler Murray into the next half decade. Now you have to fix the defense.
Yeah. And
Kingsley's still available, by the way.
Yeah, he is. But
medical red flag. Well, we're just going to red flag.
You got Jonathan Gaines that's going to come back and compete for an offensive line spot that's versatile as well. You really got to get to the defensive side. And we got a little beef earlier, didn't we?
We did, but I mean, can you ever have enough?
Roll down a little bit further. Let's just see what else we got.
What about a little Trey Benson?
Not yet. I think the defense has to take
a little corner action. We double down. We got one corner. We're just gonna
but this is based off. I would think that the Cardinals get a corner in free agency as well, or via trade market. Let's go with the defensive lineman out of Clemson.
I think that's the right pick. Now it's time to splurge.
Let's do it.
Now at pick 90. I mean, you've had 7.
Will you bring up
already?
just put in the running backs? I just want to look at the running backs.
No, that's exactly what I was going to do. You're reading my mind. So we lost the opportunity. Trey Benson went. I believe he was RB1. He went 87. So yeah, I mean, you get to pick from Bucky Irving, Blake Corum, Ray Davis, Jalen Wright. Blake Corum, he's a cutie. I mean, but he is 5'8", 215.
Right.
Look at his game against Washington, man. He's a dominant player. Yards after contact.
All-time touchdowns leader at Michigan, right?
27 touchdowns this year. That's pretty good. Can you do it with Kyler Murray? Can you have Blake Corum and Kyler Murray in the same backfield as his every down back? Or you're eventually going to say, Bo, I need a bigger back. And if that's the case, then that's a wasted pick where he's Bucky Irvine, 5'10", 200, a little bit bigger, about 2 inches taller.
Yeah, he looks pretty much the same on the field as Corum does. And then the wide receiver, McMillan, was left, right?
Yeah. Would you double up on a receiver? I don't hate that idea.
It's not bad. And Jamari Thrash is getting a lot of love out of Louisville recently.
The problem with Jamari Thrash is if he's bad, I'm going to want to call him Jamari Trash.
That's a huge problem.
I see that as a benefit.
Damon understands that would tear if he looks bad.
He's over 6 feet. He's a playmaker at a Louisville. John Gannon's from Louisville.
Nice game against Florida State. Not. Hey, nice 1,000-yard season this year. Not.
Wow.
Your call. You want to take the trash man out?
Let's go. No, I'm not gonna. First off, how dare you? Second, let's take Blake Corum. Let's do it.
Yes, I choose violence as well. Let's go. I think this is gonna do really well. I think this is probably one of our highest grades we've ever had.
Brett wanted Frazier. Boston Fort wanted Thrash. The Thrash man. Thrash Day was on Sunday.
Thrash and trash. There's so many puns we could use, but you think Blake Corum's gonna? I think Blake Corum's gonna be a top two round pick. I think this is fun for now. I think Blake Corum's gonna be a second rounder.
People are going to fall in love with the productivity. He was a leader on a team that was in the college football playoff 2 years in a row and won a national championship. He's one of the best players on that team. He elevated what, JJ McCarthy into what people are calling potential first round pick. Like that run game, that offensive line, that was the reason they were so good.
That guy better become a player if you're passing over a Georgia corner. I mean, right. You're rolling the dice.
I hate that they hate Byron Murphy II. To get a B+. Do you guys tell me you don't know ball? PFF. No, I'm kidding.
They had the second best line of scrimmage play outside of Michigan, but that's a solid one. I think we didn't choose violence today. I would like to choose violence next week, though. Right. I would also like all of you to choose us at gophnx.com. Become a diehard. We have the exclusive diehard live Q&A Discord post Thursday show. And if that's not enticing enough, become a diehard, pick up a free hat and or shirt. I lost my hat with my bald cap, but it's fire. You've seen it before. Yeah. Again, everything unlocked at gophnx.com. The many workings of our talented peers, including Gerald Bourget, Jesse Friedman, Craig Morgan. Ever heard of him? Find them and more. gophnx.com. Become a diehard. I want to see all of you in the member Discord chat for PHNX Cardinals on Thursday. Get your questions ready. Come off mute. Let's have a Cardinal convo, Bo.
Absolutely. You got to get in order to do that. As you said, become a diehard today. Conversation doesn't stop. I think I need some Botox on here. The wrinkles on my forehead are a little too intense.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot of control.
Did we check in with? We got to get Damon Dog. He has to review the draft real quick. Damon, can you come off and get on screen real quick?
I'm sorry to disappoint. I closed out of it, so I hope he remembers it by memory.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, it was Mitchell, Franklin, Joe Alt, and Frazier, Byron Murphy. I'll go B- today. It sucks when Marvin. It's a real gut punch when Marvin's not available at 4 and we don't get Marvin Harrison. For me, that's kind of the differentiator between an A and a everything else every single time we do a mock draft.
That's 100% right, Damon. We've taught you well. I know a lot of people are saying, Johnny, can we even go on as a franchise if Marvin's not available? And I don't have an answer to that yet. I can't tell you if that's a worthy conversation.
Here's what we did. When the draft takes crazy pills like it did at the top of this draft, and it goes first Drake May 1-1, and then Caleb 2, and then the Patriots going off script and taking Marvin Harrison Jr. We did what the great Boston Fort would do. We got on the horn. We said, hey, what can you give me? And then you enter in the flight plan, dramatic music, and we pull off a deal. He tells Michael Bidwell, hey, like, turn the TV down, Bidwell. Make yourself useful in here, and I got to make a deal. And he gets on the phone, trades down the 6, takes advantage of another poverty franchise in the Giants, and puts himself in a position to build the lines. Takes Joe Alt, then takes Kenyon Mitchell, takes Troy Franklin, takes Byron Murphy. It's just, I mean, it was sweet, sweet music today in the Monty mock draft.
I really like when Jim Harbaugh took Cooper DeJean 5th overall too. That was my favorite part.
Did you push like the slider over like to be as unpredictable as possible? He said, I'm going to give the keys of this draft to Bo, but I'm going to jack with the sliders.
No, but I will do that on future shows. Speaking of future shows, tomorrow we are going to watch and break down PFF's projected contracts and free agency. There are some shocking results, especially on the defensive line, and just you wait to see what they're projecting for one, I don't know, Hollywood Brown as a top 20 free agent. In the meantime, like this video, subscribe to PHNX Sports, PHNX Cardinals, wherever you get your podcasts. Again, if you'd be so inclined, leave us a 5-star review. For Bo Brack, Damon Dog, award-winning producer behind the mic, I am Johnny Venerable. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We are back mañana on a Wednesday. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.